Hi guys, welcome back to What Was Mommy Thinking? I'm so glad that you're here to share day 12 of Vlogmas with me. If you're new here, my name is Crystal. I'm a full-time working mom of 3 busy boys. I live in Texas with my husband and kiddos, and I like to do content about budgeting, finances, cooking, cleaning, and pretty much lifestyle type of things. I'm new to YouTube, so we're just getting going. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and spending the day with me. I hope everyone's doing well. What we're going to do today is a cook with me. Once a week or every 10 to 12 days or so, I try to incorporate a new meal into our meal plan that we've never tried before. It's something that we started when we started staying home back in March, and my job is to figure out how to make it gluten-free and how to make it low sodium or no sodium or as low as possible to meet all of the dietary requirements in my house. So we decided today to do sheet pan steak fajitas. Now, if you go back and watch a grocery haul from, I think it was 2 trips ago to Kroger, I mentioned how they had flat iron steak for $4.99 a pound. And guys, that's half price. So we stocked up because that was a phenomenal price. And then I went to look for recipes that I could use it for. What I found were these awesome sheet pan fajitas that actually call for flank steak or skirt steak. But I did a little research online and found out that flat iron steak is actually an even better cut of meat, and you could use it for things like this. So that's what we're going to do today. The recipe actually calls for 1 pound of beef, 3 bell peppers, a red, a yellow, and a green, I believe, and a half of an onion. So I sort of switched it up for my family because the boys aren't as crazy about the peppers, but they really do love cooked onions. So I did, instead of 3 bell peppers per pound of meat, I switched that to 2 bell peppers per pound of meat and 1 whole onion instead of a half of an onion. So what you're going to see me cook here today is 3 pounds of that flat iron steak that I got for $4.99 a pound, so about $15 for the meat. And then I cut up 6 bell peppers and 3 onions. And I went and grabbed gloves because in looking at the recipe, I got a little bit in and figured out that I'm actually going to have to touch the raw steak and put some seasonings and rub it in and stuff. And I just decided I'd rather have gloves for that. I know I'm weird, right? So I've got all my veggies chopped up. And the recipe actually calls for you to put the steak on the sheet pan with the veggies. And I decided that it probably wouldn't all fit on that big sheet pan because I didn't want stuff piled too high. So I went ahead and pulled out a second sheet pan. And what I'm doing here is I'm just separating the onion to make sure that I have it not in big clumps, so that more of the seasoning and oil and stuff will stick to the veggies. And then I'm just going to separate them out and lay them out as much as I can. And then I'm going to take one of my gloves off, and I do that so that I have one clean hand and one dirty hand. So I can touch my olive oil and all of my spices and stuff with my right hand, and then use my left hand for any, touching. So what I've put on here is, you see the chili powder is in that canister with the red lid. And the recipe is kind of ambiguous because it's like to taste. Well, okay. So there's chili powder, and then we do garlic powder. And then you see me adding cumin. Then you flip it over and do it on the same. You saw me put a little bit of olive oil on there to start with, and that helps the seasoning stick, and it also helps everything cook up. And I went ahead and did the other side of the beef and put just a little bit more on the veggies. Once you do all this and you rub everything in or pat it in, whatever you want to do, you're ready to go into a 450-degree oven. And the recipe says 12 to 14 minutes, depending on how done you like it. We actually cooked it, because this is a little thicker than a skirt steak or flank steak would be. We actually cooked this for almost a half an hour. And you'll see here in a second how it comes out. When you take it out of the oven, you're supposed to cover it and let it rest for 10 minutes. So that's what we did here. And then I called in the reinforcements. So once the 10 minutes are over, you go ahead and uncover it. And I don't even know that you have to cover it to let it rest. We just did. And then I called in my husband to do the carving of the steak because that's just not my thing. So what he's doing here is he's giving all of the veggies a really good zhuzh, or mix it up, however you want to say it, so that as he cuts the steak, he can just kind of throw it all over onto that one sheet pan the way it was intended to be. We'll stir that up, and that's exactly how we took it to the table. We started with only cutting up this one steak that you see him cutting here, threw it on the sheet pan, mixed it up with the veggies, and took that to the table. And I know that it'll, when you see it, it looks like it's enough, but we ended up actually coming back and cutting that second steak up because everybody loved this dish. This was hands down one of the best new recipes that I have ever made. And we sat there and kind of figured out the cost breakdown of it. The main part of the meal, which was the meat and the veggies, ended up costing us less than $20, you guys. That's phenomenal. You can't go to a Mexican restaurant and get even fajitas for two people for $20. And we had enough here that all five of us ate to the point of being extremely full. And we had almost 8 cups of leftovers. So we have enough fajitas for leftover night. My boys ate them on regular flour tortillas. I ate them on the Ole Wraps because of Weight Watchers. And then my husband ate them on the gluten-free sweet potato wraps. And everybody absolutely loved theirs. We had different garnishments because everybody prefers something a little different, but cheese is kind of the standard for everybody. Some people had sour cream, some people had salsa, and my husband and my oldest son also added some hot sauce to it. So once you get the meat cut, he went ahead and cut it in half down the middle just so it would be easier to put it into the tortillas. We stuck it on the tray, and that was it, guys. This was delicious. If you ever find a really good deal on those kinds of steaks or skirt steak or flank steak, you gotta try this. It hands down was more tender and beat the Mexican restaurants that I've had fajitas at in the last, I don't know, a couple of years. So we enjoyed this dinner so much, and I want to thank you for spending your time with me. I'm going to insert the recipe if you want to pause it and take a screenshot, and then I'll insert the directions for cooking it. And that's going to be it for us today, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. I hope that you're seeing wonderful things in Vlogmas that are life-changing for you. And I will see you tomorrow in my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.